For more information on my programs, please visit massajadi.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.
Let's get to the energy upgrades. Okay. So what I saw, and I went a little extensive on that because of this, the energy upgrades coming up. So as I mentioned, last year and the year before, and the year before that actually, waves coming through. It's a clarifying, it's a cleansing. I call it a purity wave, a purification wave. And why that is because it's a transformation of the universe. So it probably started around 2012. That's where, the big hubbub was about 2012 and, this thing, the end of the earth and world and so on like that. Not necessarily so, but not the end of the world, but maybe the beginning of a new paradigm, where a wave, and at first, smaller waves coming through and larger and larger and larger. Now we're at 2018, getting kind of like medium. So we're halfway through, almost halfway through. I would say, a little past 2/3. Quarter, a little less than halfway that we're through. And these waves are getting bigger and bigger as the years go by. Okay? And this is another reason, because as these waves get bigger, you'll see massive transformations in the financial industry, personal, health, religion. Everything that was a cornerstone of society will get cleansed and shaken up. Okay? And again, that's why I wanted to just discuss detox a little bit further, because as you clean up, everything gets magnified for you. Okay? The process that I said 3 months into, say, a week, now that process for many individuals, like I saw this last month, amazing how people say shifted, amazing how people just say got it, they were awakened, they shifted so fast. It was actually, say, one of the best groups of the 21 days that I've had. Again, very efficient, very quick, probably not a lot of detox for this group, or on the flip side, very intense detox for those individuals that are a little heavy or burdened, from previous lifetimes in this lifetime. So as these waves come through, it purifies the frequencies of the earth. Okay? So what that means overall is that the heaviness that creates a density here, okay? The distortions, like the atrocities that happen, okay? And then also the extremes. So very, very like euphoric states. Okay, that's what these waves are about. What happens is that both extremes, both positive and negative, get deleted. And that's why these waves come through. So as these waves come through, well, things have to get shaken up to clarify and let go. Okay? So it's not just a physical detox. At a personal level, it's a family detox, it's a city detox, state detox, country detox, global detox, and then universal detox. So, again, it's a universal wash through that happens, and very important to stay up to date on that. What I saw in January, February. January was a lot of letting go process, and this is kind of comes connected with, the seasonal cycles of the Earth, right? Because we're getting, forced back into seasonal cycles, whether our cycles are parallel to the seasonal cycles or the earthly cycles that we're going through. And I'll explain that just a little bit more in detail. So in January, I saw a death cycle. Okay? Especially the last, in December, the 21 days, we really, really worked on, letting go of all of the past. And the reason why we worked on letting go of the past, right, November, December, was one, a lot of people get together for the holidays, right? They come, they unite, they get to see, point blank, all the distorting patterns that have kept them down, kept them not living the life that they want. So we worked on that because it was at the end of the year. Okay, for many people, it's pivotal point, end of the year, holidays, birthdays, and so on. Something pivotal. So that's why I worked as a death cycle. Again, winter time. I'll explain the seasons later on. But so it's winter time, say a death cycle, and then that carried on through January. So January is really about again finishing off the year, closing books up for a lot of us. Right? Letting go of those relationships that didn't work out, or coming to terms with those relationships that we're still continuing on with so they can grow and enhance us. So it was a lot of letting go. It was a lot of, say, getting your ducks in a row, or stepping back from your life so you can actually see what's going on in your life from a different point of view, not a distorted point of view. Because if you're in a quagmire, it's hard to see. But it's that saying. It's like you're stepping out of the forest so you can see the trees. So it's more like that. So you can see all the things that aren't needed and all the things that you might want to keep. So January, February was really about that for us. January closing off. February, say, moving away, closing a little bit more off those chapters, and then moving into February was looking at, say, different scenarios or different opportunities that show up, because now we've got the space clear for those different opportunities. Plus, we're more aware of those opportunities that are showing up for us, and that's why a lot of us, February was really an awesome month. From my point of view, because we let go of all the distortions. So that's why, again, February, for a lot of people in this group, there wasn't a lot of detox. Not a lot of, there was, but not as heavy as those previous months. So kind of jumping into detox again, is detox is getting rid of all the garbage that you don't need so you can jump on your path. Once you jump on your path, and this is exciting for March, April, May, and so on, once you jump on your path, it becomes really exciting. It becomes phenomenal. You get to understand, say, the mechanics on how, say, once your spirit starts to come in through you, you get to start to understand, say, the mechanics on why things, or how your spirit helps you shift and transform your life for you. And then once you start to understand the mechanics, you get to understand, say, why certain things happen in your life the way it does, right? Because you can see the end benefit. It's like, and many people are coming up to me, or when we're talking, it's like, oh, when this happened to me, when X happened to me, no matter what X is, no matter if you lost your job, spouse, divorce, connected with somebody, I don't know, got a promotion, got a raise, when X happened, whatever that X might be, good or bad, the underlying reason, and that's the key that I can tell where you are on the scale of awakening. Because you start to see the underlying reason on why things happen to you. Right? You start to see the underlying reason on why things happen to other people. Right? And it tells me directly, and other people, again, awakening, they'll know exactly where you are. Compared to, say, depending on what you talk about or the questions that you ask. So January, February, really exciting for us. And again, with the wave just magnifying my abilities, a lot of people came up to me and they go, wow, from even a month ago, my abilities really strengthened. So I magnify quite highly. And again, I'm not going to get into how magnification works as this wave comes through, but you guys, they clean up fast as well. So we're all ascending, in direct ratio to how, say, ascended we are. We magnify to that, according to that ratio. So the higher you are, this process, this wave comes through, and the higher you are, you get magnified much higher. So it's beneficial to wake up. And that's another thing. As the wave comes through, a lot of individuals are coming through, right, that are, say, sick of religion, sick of society, sick of government, sick of themselves, because a lot of things that they've tried, it's not that those things haven't worked out. A lot of those things that they've tried haven't really worked out for them. And this purification wave is that we start to awaken to the timeless being that we are, okay? And what we're looking for is the timeless knowledge, which I've defined or named exponential intelligence. By the way, I didn't create exponential intelligence. Right? I just labeled it. It's been around since beginning of time. And there's a ton of people that have used it in the past and are using it now without knowing that they're using it. So it's not just me. So that was the January-February updates on what happened on the, not only on the 21 days, but as a whole. So New Year, again, ending time, a new beginning, fresh beginning. And then also the Chinese New Year. There's a ton of Chinese people. Last couple of weeks. The Islamic New Year coming up on the 21st. That's a huge wave. Again, those are all, say, time components, even if you're not of that religion or culture. Okay. There are millions, billions of individuals in each of those segments that it creates, say, a wave for us. Right? So we take advantage of those waves, again, the three major ones, along with the purification wave. So we ride those waves. So although I might have not mentioned, and I did mention the Chinese New Year, didn't do anything, say, special for it, but within the 21 days I integrated, say, the frequencies of that wave of a fresh start again. So you got a fresh start in January, right? Ended. You get a fresh start a couple of weeks ago, the Chinese New Year, and then March 21st, I believe, first day of spring in the U.S. But again, for billions of people around the world, which creates momentum, right? We ride that wave again, whether we're with that culture, religion or not, doesn't matter. We're just riding the wave of ending and like resetting. So again, the end of the year, very, very important, and so might as well take advantage of all three of them, right? And then also, what we did too was Valentine's Day. We did the Valentine's Day series because at this level, again, people are really sick and tired of, say, the relationships that, well, kind of stay mundane. Right? We want more vibrance in our relationships, more completeness, more romance, right? More sex, like good sex, not just like plain physical sex. That gets old, and many of you are in that state. It's like, oh, it's like sex again. Although you might get interested, but then very quickly it's like, oh, it's the same old thing. It doesn't have to happen that way, and that's why we did this series in February, and I think we just finished up last week on that. So if you're interested on having a dynamic relationship, that's really fantastic. It's a fantastic series. Just notice how you're feeling. Again, although I'm not directly creating frequencies, indirectly, again, a lot of you might be feeling very different just by me talking. Okay? I'm not going to get into why that happens for the new people, but maybe on another talk. So what's happening for this month in the financial market? Talk about that. It's pretty accurate, actually, on the financial segment or financial market, where I said that end of the year, beginning of the year, markets are going to be skyrocketing, and then in February it's going to slump down. So very accurate there, and it did. Markets lost a lot. Now it's now, and again, I'm not a financial analyst or anything like that. Okay, these are my views. This is how I trade. If you're a trader or buy cryptocurrencies or anything like that, this is what I'm doing. You necessarily don't have to do it the way I do it, and always do your own research, right, before you invest in any product. So, but anyway, overall, the way I see the markets is that it'll hang out. It'll get stronger, it'll build some momentum, and then as March rolls around, from what I'm seeing, like the first week of March, it'll start, say, climbing quite high and start regaining, gaining all the losses that'll come through. April seems kind of good. It might slump down a little bit. End of April, around tax time and so on like that, and then beginning of May, I believe it'll start pulling back up. And then really shooting up June, July, and then kind of simmering down. So, yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole year. So it's really a good time for the markets. Really, doesn't mean that the economies are doing better. Doesn't mean the job markets or anything like that is doing anything better. As a note, they always put the job market and all this, side by side with what's happening on Wall Street. Those two don't really coincide. They really don't. Although, you hear two news pieces together, and then you go, oh, because it acts, the finance markets happen this way or that way. If you look through history, the job market, for example, had a fantastic job market. The markets, dropped, and then the next year had a fantastic job market, and the markets increased. So again, there's no correlation, although, people on the talking heads, they start to say correlate. One of the best ways, by the way, guys, as an indicator, right, on which way to trade. If you're a trader, seems like there's a lot of traders. We'll get into it. Very, very simple. I call it the granny type trade. So very simple. You don't have to know anything. Just try it out before, try it out on paper trade before you get into it. When you start to see, like on the general news, right, where they talk about the markets. So, for example, if they say, it's the worst market, and it happened, by the way, just a couple of weeks ago, okay, and that's why it's time to trade or invest into the market. So, a couple of weeks ago, on the general market, they said that, well, the Dow cryptocurrencies lost a ton of money. It was the market was getting really scared, really nervous, over and over and over again. Okay, so when that happens, say when that negative news hits the general, say news wire, news feed, then about a week or two later, then you'll know it's time to, say, get into the market. Okay, not the other way around. Okay? And then on the flip side, when you get to see, the market's strongest as ever. And this is what they were doing at the end of January, by the way. If you can go back, if you don't believe me, and just check it out. Markets are strongest are ever. If you would have bought X, company, when it was like $5, now it's like $100 or $700. All those things to get you, say, into the market. About 2 weeks later, the market dropped. So always do the opposite of the general news, and you'll see how you can make money in the market. So what I foresee for the March energetically or frequency-wise. So energetically, so whatever happens, one thing to note, guys, is that we think that we create the realities here. We're going to force the markets to do this. We're going to force our spouses to do this. We're going to force myself to, say, get better, healthier, and also, whatever that we do, right, to have it improve at the physical level. It never works that way. It never, ever, ever works that way. That's why a lot of the things that you've done in the past is either never worked or very slow to shift you. Okay? So you have to get to the frequency level or your core level programming, what I call your source code, to help you shift at a dramatic level. So what I see, again, energetically or frequency-wise, we talked about the financial market. Let's talk about the seasonal cycles of the Earth. And then, we'll talk about the seasonal cycles of the Earth really quickly. So the seasonal cycles, and this is part of the, the 21 days or anything that we do, but especially the 21 days, which happens every month. So what happens is the seasonal cycles. So start with spring. Okay? Actually, I told you about winter time, so the death cycle. Okay, although it sounds dark, it's not really dark. Basically, the death cycle is letting go of all those things that aren't beneficial for us anymore. Just like what happens in nature, for those areas that are seasonal, right? What happens is, the leaves drop, old flowers, whatever. What do? They get buried under the soil, and it becomes rich, fertile soil for a new beginning in the springtime. And then in the springtime, again, a seedling for you, right? Planting those seeds of growth, prosperity, abundance, whatever it might be. It comes around to summer for growth, expansiveness, completeness, strength, confidence. Again, just like the seasons. Right? Fall, what happens is introspection. Okay? Fall is what happens is, the leaves drop, old branches fall off. Right? What happens? They decay and then die off. And again, for winter time, that die-off decays completely and becomes fertile soil for spring again. Okay? In human form, although we follow this completely, we follow this cycle. Some of us are off cycle because of timing and so on like that. If you were in the jungle, you would connect directly with not just the yearly cycles. I was in the jungle for about 10 days. I got directly connected to the daily cycles. Woke up, sunrise, went to bed, sunset. And you felt fantastic because that's your natural pattern, by the way. So the yearly cycle, the way we can take advantage of it, because we live in an industrial society on the daily cycle, so that might not work for us. But the yearly cycle, we can take advantage of it, right? During the fall, we start to introspect what happened through the year, through the past year, up to fall, and start letting go of those things. Humans don't do that. But if you see animal, nature, anything else, that's what they do, right? They start to shed their coats. They start to do a lot of things to prepare for the winter time. Again, humans just hold on to their grief, hold on to their bondage, hold on to their garbage, hold on to excesses. They don't let go. However, that cycle still processes. So you don't let go. All that stuff that's inside you, whether it's an attitude, emotion, frequency, other people, aliens, all those frequencies that are not you, okay, that you're supposed to let go of in the fall, that you're holding on to, in the wintertime, they start decaying. Whether you've let go of them or not, they just decay inside you. Okay? They decay your spirit, frequency-wise, hence they start decaying your body. So that's why we want to keep in touch with the seasonal cycles. Again, the 21 days, we do part of that. And then anything else, although it's not, I never announce it, or I don't announce it as much, but basically if you look at the previous year's programs, it's really about following those cycles for you. Again, since that wave is there for us anyway, I help you ride those waves. And that's why we create the programs that we do certain parts of the year. Also for the March coming up. I'm going to do a 30-day challenge. Like I said, I'm doing a 10-day and then a 5-day, 10-day Purium cleanse and then a 5-day. So there's going to be more details coming up within the next couple of days, so you can be ready for April, because it does take a while. We're going to do a 30-day challenge. Okay? We're going to get all the details coming up soon for that, but it's about getting in shape for the springtime. Spring and summer, not just physically in shape, but mentally, emotionally, and then internally. So we're going to do a cleanse. So we're going to give you all the details on what I'm going to do, although you can, follow a similar plan with different products, if you like. Again, more details on that. Some of the hot topics on the top search trends coming up in spirituality. The Dalai Lama spoke about spirituality without quantum physics is an incomplete picture of reality. I totally agree. That's what I've been talking about all along in Xponential Intelligence. My podcast, Xponential Intelligence, explains the mechanics behind what happens to you, okay, or why things happen to you, and then how you can transform it or shift it or reprogram it to have it all. So it's all about, say, physics. Right? It's actually what I talk about, or what actually affects you. Yes, it's part of quantum physics, but it goes beyond the quantum physics that we're here. We haven't really even scratched the surface on why things happen the way we do. We don't even have the technology, the instrument, the measurement instruments, to actually create, to test our frequencies. I was at a lab in San Diego, and they were testing my frequencies on how I generate frequencies to help shift people and what happens to the brain centers and so on like that. It was quite interesting. But again, even that test was very, very good. But it's the best that we have. But then also, the frequencies that I generate, much more advanced than, say, anything around is so far, although we're getting better and better to understanding that. So the techniques, and just one little bit on this, is that most individuals who've come through spirituality, religion, and even society, they deem things as good and bad. Right? This happened to me because I was bad, or I was messed up, or this happened or that happened, whatever it is. It's just straight physics, guys. It's just like the way gravity works. So it's like the way electricity works. You have to follow the paradigm. Right? You have to follow those physics rules. Right? You have to follow the spiritual physics rules, as I call it, through EI, on how to create, say, money, how to create health, how to create better relationships. It's all just straight out physics. You resonate at certain frequencies. The end result is the frequency that you're generating. So if it's frequencies of havoc, right, no matter what you do on the outside for you, if you're generating frequencies of havoc, your life is going to have havoc in it. If you're generating frequencies of abundance, no matter what you do on the outside, right, you're going to be generating abundance for you. It's that simple, although probably one of the hardest things that you'll do. So totally agree with the Dalai Lama there. On business, toxic work environment with no human touch makes people quit. That's the old paradigm. More and more people, although this has been happening since the 20s, and even back, far back, the slave trade and so on like that, and this is new news. It's not really new news. It's just that wave that's coming through. It's forcing people to see things as they are. They get to see the nuances of why things happen. The new business paradigm that we have coming up, that we'll share more about, talks about the integration of connection, so that spiritual connection that we all need. Because it's not just about money. There's a lot of people that make a ton of money and they're not happy. Why is that? There's a lot of people that make no money and they're not happy. Why is that? There's a lot of people that are super successful. Again, empty, incomplete, on drugs, abused, and so on like that. Why does that happen? A new paradigm has to show up, and that's what they're talking about. So they're just, again, breaking the crust on what's really happening here. Forbes' top subject, why we shouldn't be afraid to embrace the spiritual side of leadership. Again, this is part of the new paradigm. I kind of briefly looked into, say, some of the hot topics. Mindfulness is coming in, and then strong womanhood type is coming in. All those things, and I don't want to sound egotistical, but that comes from the old paradigm as well. Let me just explain. Okay. So, say the new woman movement, right? Strong women coming up. Right. So basically, what's happening is that these women that are strong, yes, you're probably creating a fantastic life. But what's happening, and I can guarantee it, as I scan, say, that women movement, which is totally fine. But what's really happening there is that we're taking on a male masculine frequency to create that strength that women need. So we've lost identity of what a strong female should look like. Right? So we're adopting male frequencies. It's not going to get you as far as you wish you want to go. It just won't. It just can't, because you can't identify with who you are if you're running male pattern frequencies to protect your space, keep you secure, keep you safe, keep you advanced, keep you whatever, because you are women. Same thing goes on the flip side, men as well. Right? But this is just an example. The business side, again, they're getting more into customer service, exceptional customer service, getting you the stuff that you want, like in an hour or two. I live not too far from an Amazon warehouse. I can get stuff in a couple hours if it's at their warehouse. It's amazing. But again, all those things are not going to get to what you really want. And that's that spiritual advancement between two beings. For the women movement, again, so all these things are awakening, but we're kind of going in all sorts of directions thinking that these are going to solve it. It's not. What you want to do, like in the women, the strong women, is actually start to, say, re-embrace or identify what was lost a long time ago. Again, same thing with men, is that natural, strong female frequency. That's what you're looking for. That's what's going to make you complete. And that's what's going to make you successful without being abused. And I can give you a direct example of this. There's about a dozen or so women that I work with, super successful, and they tell me they just don't feel successful because they're in a man's world all day long. They've lost, say, all the identity of being a female, and I know a lot of you will resonate to this. Okay? And a lot of men would resonate to this too, because yeah, they're successful, yeah, they're this, yeah, they're that, but then, at the end of the day, they're dead tired, they can't connect with anybody, they can't connect with their loved ones, their children, all those things. They kind of feel empty, and then they go to work the next day. That's not being successful, guys. In this age, in this new wave that's coming through, success means more than, the physicalness of this world. In the success, confidence with impact, attracting success by increasing your self-esteem. Most individuals don't know how to and again, you're going to read articles on how to build self-esteem. Right? That only scratches the surface. What EI would do for you is actually create that self-esteem, that self-confidence, that self-connection from the inside out, so you exude. You've seen those individuals, they just walk into a room and they just resonate with power, success, self-esteem. They just do without speaking. They own, they control the room. That's the kind of leadership or confidence that I'm talking about. Right? Not who you know, the topics that you know, how much money you make, what title you are, and so on and so on and so on. So again, that's the difference between EI, and that's the world that we're getting into, by the way. Well, right on time. We won't have time to do a meditation right now. Why don't we just do a 5-minute meditation, because I've got actually calls right after this. Let me just check here. Yeah, I've got calls right after this. Oh, as a note, guys, before we do the meditation, I'll give you a minute to get comfortable. We'll do about 5 minutes, okay? And then you can stay in this space for as long as you wish, especially for the new people. You kind of get a taste. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in, just noticing where you are, noticing the space around you. Again, as you get comfortable, as you let go of all this stuff, today, yesterday, last week, last lifetime. Another strong deep breath in again. Start noticing all the other people on the call. There's a ton of people on the call. It creates momentum, because what do we want? We're all facing the same direction because we all want the same thing. So as we're going towards the same direction, it creates a lot of momentum for us. And that's where, again, the meek shall inherit the earth. We come back into our own power. That's what this wave is all about. So taking advantage of the strength to get out of those ruts, right? Those chains that shackle us, pushing us through those blocks that, we just keep hitting over and over again, breaking through. And then a strong deep breath in again. Stop asking ourselves, how do I connect to pure source even stronger? Again, nothing spiritual or religious. You're really asking, how do I become my limitless self? However, if you are of a faith, this will actually help you understand your faith better so it can benefit you the way it should be. And then as we settle in, just settling into our hip area. So from your mid-thighs on up, from your belly button all the way through, down to that peace. Since I don't have to know exactly what's going on with you to help you, because I don't cure you in any way, like I said. I help you awaken your spirit. Your spirit knows exactly what's going on with you, much more than doctors, you yourself, and so on. And then that's how you shift. So let's just really awaken your natural frequencies in that area, no matter what it's caused by. Accidents, surgeries, abortions, losing kids other ways, from what I'm sensing, abuse, whatever it might be, whatever's happening, whatever has happened in that area for you. All you have to do is note your breath as you take another strong one in. As I continue to work on you, just to help you clear out or start clearing out so you understand that it's just frequencies, it's just programs and nothing else. You change your frequency, you change your life. Exhaling if you haven't done so already. Again, we're into that groin area. Again, noting your breath, noticing the groin area, noticing if any changes are happening or what you're feeling. And for a good number of you, about 80-90%, feeling that difference. For those who aren't, it still works on you. It's just that, again, controlling, afraid. It takes a little longer. But go ahead and leave you in this space for as long as you wish. I'm just going to jump onto another call, so you can stay on this line for as long as you wish. You'll still be connected to that mastermind group that was created. You'll still be connected, say, at some level with me. That it'll feel like I'm still working on you as long as you quietly stay in this space. And again, more physical proof, personal proof that you change your frequencies, you change your life, and then everything else that you need to do physically, you do accordingly, right? And this is how you get fast transformation results. Thanks for being on the call, guys. For those doing the 21-day, starts tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. If you're interested, again, there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of free events coming up as well. I'll be at the Lake Harriet Spiritual Center coming up next week, actually. I'll be in New York City in person events. With Alan Seinfeld on the Awakening coming up. I'll be at the New Life Expo in New York. Designing programs to help people with addictions and abuse. Brand new Healing Mastery program for you, extended and more in depth. The info call for the Healing Mastery, by the way, it's a free call. Again, info and FAQs, that's tomorrow. So go to masajady.com, MASSAJADY.com, and look at the calendar, see what's going on for you. All right, guys, take care. Notice what you notice. And then start noticing the details of what you notice.
For more information on my programs, please visit masajady.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.